Quick question. Can you actually define ultra processed food? And I don't mean like junk food or bad food. I actually mean define it because it is a specific researched defined category of food, and it's not just a fancier way of saying Doritos. Once you actually understand what it is and what it does, you will look at it at a significant portion of the grocery store in a completely different light. And some of what I'm going to tell you is going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, let's go. So here's the thing. I'm a holistic nutritionist. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I look at the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. And I genuinely believe that information is power when it comes to food. Not rules, not guilt, information. Because I'd rather you understand why something matters than just to tell you to avoid it and call it a day. So today, ultra processed food. What it actually is, why it matters, and what you can realistically do about it. So let me clear something up first, because processed food has become a massive umbrella term that doesn't actually help anyone. A frozen bag of peas, processed. Canned tomatoes or chickpeas, processed. Olive oil, processed. Processing means something happened to the food between the farm and your kitchen. This isn't the issue. Ultra-processed food is a very specific category that researchers have defined. It's called the NOVA classification, and NOVA isn't an acronym. It is food groups that, according to nature, extent and purpose of the industrial processing they undergo. So go look it up on the computer. I know I didn't explain it very well, but basically it's this whole thing that they've got. These are foods that are formulated largely from industrial ingredients, things that aren't really food in their own right, and loaded with additives like emulsifiers, artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, and flavor enhancers. The purpose of these additives is to make the food taste incredible, look appealing, and last forever on a shelf. And most importantly, keep you eating past the point where you'd normally stop. This is an example of an ultra-processed food. Yes, I know it doesn't have very many ingredients in it, but can you just stop eating after like 2 chips? No, I can't either. But those are just one example. So some other examples are most packaged snack foods. Think Oreos, Twinkies, that kind of thing. A lot of breakfast cereals, soft drinks, energy drinks, most fast foods, hot dogs, chicken nuggets, packaged bread with like a 12 to 25 ingredient list, flavored yogurt that has way more sugar in it than a candy bar, instant noodles. So a good rough test for you to figure out, is this an ultra-processed food or not an ultra-processed food when you're buying it, is could you replicate this in your kitchen and make it taste the same from ingredients that you actually recognize as food? If the answer is genuinely no, like there's no way I could make Oreos and make them taste like Oreos do, it's probably ultra-processed. Now, why does this matter more than just it's unhealthy? Because it's specifically engineered to mess with your appetite. Food scientists spend serious money on what they call the bliss point, the perfect ratio of sugar, salt, and fat that keeps you eating past the point of satisfaction. They've studied this extensively. They've spent a lot of money to keep you reaching in that bag and eating whatever it is that you're putting in your mouth mindlessly. Your brain gets a dopamine hit, your fullness signals get bypassed, and you eat way more than you ever intended to every single time. It's not an accident. That is their business model. And it's almost always low in fiber, which, as we've talked about, affects your microbiome, your immune system, your hormones, your blood sugar. Fiber is doing so much, and ultra-processed food strips it out almost entirely. There's also emerging research, now it's still developing, but it's consistent, that certain emulsifiers in ultra-processed food may negatively affect the gut microbiome directly. Your gut bacteria do not love these additives. And the big picture data is pretty uncomfortable. Population studies consistently show that ultra high processed food consumption is associated with higher risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, depression, and certain cancers. These are associations, not guarantees of cause and effect. Science is always more complicated than the headlines show. But the pattern is showing up across country after country, study after study, and that's not just something you can dismiss. I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I don't remember seeing the amount of junk food in the grocery stores, nor do I remember seeing the amount of overweight people that I see on a daily basis now. And I work in with the general public, so I see a lot of people on a daily basis. Okay, so what can you actually do with this information? Because I'm not here to make you feel bad about your pantry. That's not what I'm here for. You don't have to throw everything away and go out and start over. This is just more about awareness and gradual shifts over time. Not perfection, never perfection. So just start with reading your ingredient lists, not the nutrition facts, the actual ingredients. If there are more than 5 or 6 things, and some of them don't sound like food, like hexotrexomethyllate, just made that up, chances are it's not real food. So you can also do small things like start cooking a little more at home. Genuinely, even 1 or 2 home cooked meals in a week makes a huge difference. You're automatically cutting out ultra processed foods when you make your own food at home. And it doesn't have to be fancy food. I'm talking like pasta with tomato sauce that you made yourself. Very easy to do. You can use tinned tomatoes, olive oil, some onions, some seasonings, voila, spaghetti. And when you do buy packaged food, which everyone does, including me, look for shorter ingredient lists with things that you recognize. So this tin of chickpeas, the ingredients are, sorry, this is not chickpeas, my bad. White kidney beans, water, and calcium chloride, which is just a shelf stabilizer. I always wash it before I eat it though, because I don't want that shelf stabilizer left on my food. So a canned soup with vegetables, broth, beans, and a bit of salt is fundamentally different than one that has emulsifiers and 5 kind of additives. Both live in a can, only one is ultra processed. Ultra processed food is not evil per se. Eating it sometimes is not going to destroy your health, but knowing what it actually is and what it's actually designed to do, that gives you real information to make real choices. And that is literally all I'm trying to do here, is just make sure that you have information so that you can make informed choices. So subscribe if this was helpful. Drop your comments, drop your questions in the comments. I love hearing from you, and I will see you in the next one.